Hi folks, John Tobis here. I'm going to show you how to use the Aristocrat encoder to create a question that is solved with a keyword or key phrase. Now, this is very similar to just generating a normal Aristocrat, but there's a couple of minor differences. Most importantly, you really want to have a phrase that they can actually solve. You want to have, well, you want to have a cipher they can solve. You don't want to get it too hard. Generally something that's going to be, what would normally be a 200-point question. And then what you need to do is you need to pick a keyword or key phrase. So you can either do it as a keyword, and if you want to do it as a keyword, in this case here, I have one that was generated with the test builder, and it's going to go ahead and do a K1. So you could use a keyword, just simply use the nice suggest keyword and give you lots of different options for it. You don't want to pick something that's too easy. Absurdity, that's not a bad one, so we could use that as our keyword. And so you've got that something they're going to try and find. But if you want to have a little bit of fun with it, you can also do it as a key phrase. I tend to try and pick, a phrase, a couple of words together that don't necessarily go together, but they're close enough that it makes sort of sense. One of the ones that I did a year or two ago was pink bunny slippers. So what's nice about it is there was a couple of repeated letters, so you had to think a little bit about it in terms of generating the phrase, but it gave you something to look for. So in this particular case, I've got absurdity. Let's see, comedians. So let's do this. We're going to use comedians, but how about we want to add something into it? TV comedians, TV comedians. And so, and if you look where it's at, you can see that it wraps around the end. That makes it a little bit harder. In this particular case, it might not be a good choice because the V is not something that's occurring within the text. And so they're not necessarily going to get it. So how about, we might have house comedians. See how that looks. We look in there, you can see all the letters are indeed solved by it. There is a couple of letters like, okay, the C, the O is duplicated, but someone should be able to figure out what that is. So in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and use house comedians. We've got a K1. Oh, well, we need to go ahead and finish up the problem. Suggest a question. All right. Okay. Well, we're going to need to replace the question text, but we need to ask them, what was the key phrase used to encode it? Oh, look at this. Notice this bad keyword for letters A. Turns out that we have A map and A. So we're gonna have to just shift my offset a little bit. Oh, same thing with you. Oh, there we go. And house comedian still works. It wraps around the end. And all the letters are shown when they've solved it. So we've got that. Let's see how many points it is. 329, not bad, given that we're asking for a keyword. So we set the points, and at this point in time, we've got our problem. We can save it, and then we are good. Go on to the next question. I hope you have a wonderful day.